No, this is nothing that you can't watch me crazy, it's just like should be open up and out. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going for.
Going to call to order the Kaiser Volunteer Coordinating Committee at. Calling to order the Kaiser Volunteer Coordinating Committee at 6 o'clock on October 9th, Thursday. Welcome everyone for being here. Oh, a couple of our people are missing. If you want to take attendance, someone.
Sure. Daisy Aikman. Leslie Reisman. Jane Earth.
Here.
Kim Freeman.
Here.
Counselor Kohler.
Here.
Larry Jackson is excused, Tina Richmond is excused, and Lenora Blank is excused.
All right, thank you so much. Do you have any public testimony tonight or anything that's not currently on the agenda? Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our August meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th, 2025.
I second them. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from our meeting in August of 2025. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm abstaining from your. Any abstaining? Me, all right, thank you.
Was it Leslie?
Good reminder. Yes, sir. Okay, so moving right along, we have some committee appointments tonight. We're really happy to have people who are here to apply for these open positions on our traffic safety, bikeways and pedestrian committee. So this evening we have 2 positions open with terms ending December 31st of 2028. And we have 2 candidates. Hirsch Sangster and Michael Welch. So we would love to have each one of you come up and just say a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the committee, and you'll have 5 minutes, and then we would love to ask you some questions. And
Before Hirsch.
okay,
You go first. All right, I'll go first.
okay, and state your name and a little bit about yourself and why you're here tonight.
Keep those wait.
Thank you.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Michael Welch. I'm here because I care deeply about the community of Kaiser and making Kaiser streets safer for everyone, whether they are drivers, cyclists, or people just walking. Close family friend of ours. They have a high school senior who walks down trail every day. So that accident a couple weeks ago hit way too close to home for us. There should be improvements made to that street, and I want to try to help any way I can. As a health and safety professional in my 9 to 5, I spend every day looking at how people interact with their environment, identifying risks, and building systems that prevent injuries before they happen. That same mindset is what I want to bring to that committee. I've seen firsthand how one small design change, one missing crosswalk, or one poorly timed signal can have real impact on the safety and confidence of people in our communities. Kaiser is growing, and with growth comes new traffic patterns, more pedestrians on the streets, more cyclists on the roadways, and more shared spaces where those need to interact. I want to help the city take a proactive approach, help anticipate risks before they turn into accidents, For me, joining this committee is about contributing professional insight to make our transportation system safer by design rather than relying on enforcement or after the fact responses. In my profession, we use what's called the hierarchy of controls to manage risk. It's a structured way to think about how to eliminate hazards and protect people, and it translates perfect into traffic and pedestrian safety. Elimination is at the top of that list, and it's the best way to prevent harm. Is to remove the hazard entirely, like redesigning intersections that encourage risky behavior. Next down on that list is substitution. If elimination isn't possible, we look at replacing dangerous elements for safer ones. For instance, adding protected bike lanes or pedestrian refuge islands. Engineering controls is another element. Those are physical changes like better lighting, barriers, and traffic calming devices. They can reduce the chance of human error leading to injuries. Rumble strips are a perfect example of those on the side of the highways. I think we could bring that technology elsewhere, keep people more alert. Then finally, you have administrative controls, education campaigns, signage, stuff like that. But those only work as well as the people that are behind the wheel or behind the bike or are walking. And then finally, PPE should be the last line of defense. We have helmets, reflectors on our bikes, high-vis gear for pedestrians or runners out on the streets. But again, that's not going to save a life. If someone chooses to hit somebody, that should be a last line of defense. We should be looking at either engineering or elimination controls for those risks out there. I'd like to bring this framework to the community's or to the committee's discussions, making sure our recommendations address safety at the system level, not just at the individual level. I believe good safety decisions are built on data, community feedback, and practical solutions. I'm comfortable analyzing incident reports, reviewing risk assessments, and connecting the dots between trends and root causes. But I also believe in listening to residents, parents, cyclists, and drivers to understand where they feel unsafe and why. I don't want to push an agenda. I'm here to help make decisions that are evidence-based, balanced, and forward-looking. In short, I want to bring a professional safety mindset to community service. My goal is to help Kaiser move toward a safer, more walkable, more connected city, one where safety isn't left to chance, but is built into our streets, our designs, and our culture. With that, thank you, and I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone stay there?
Oh, good.
And we can ask some questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Questions for Mr. Love.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for coming. What's your favorite mode of transportation around the city of Kaiser? What do you prefer to get around on?
So I work in Woodburn, so I drive a lot, but my children ride bikes. My daughter, against my wishes, is choosing to ride a skateboard. My family, we walk to and from. My kids go to Gupser. We're just in the Country Glen neighborhood, so we walk from our house to Gupser quite a bit. Kaiser's kind of spread out to allow for a lot of walking. Like we couldn't walk to, well, we probably could, but it'd be a long walk to walk out to Kaiser Rapids Park. Mainly, yeah, it's either walking to and from school. Other than that, we're driving around the neighborhoods. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
brought you to Kaiser?
What brought me to Kaiser? So my in-laws moved to Salem back in 2006. My wife and I moved to the Oregon area in 2011 before the birth of my first son. Got a job in Woodburn and kind of knew the Kaiser in the Salem area, and we decided to settle on in Kaiser. So from central Nebraska, so it felt a little more like what I was used to.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me, Michael, you've applied both for the traffic safety guideways pedestrian.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. And the parks advisory.
I withdrew from parks.
Oh, sorry.
After more consideration, I felt my personal skill level and my education level and what I have in my career, that the transportation was a better fit
Okay.
for me.
And listening to everything that you shared with us tonight. is there a focus area or an area of traffic safety or concern in Kaiser that you've identified?
Yeah, so bikes. I was coming back from Salem today, after lunch, and River Road, I could not imagine riding a bike coming from, where is that? Just north of Fred Meyer on River Road, all the way up. There is no bike lane. Somebody'd have to be on the sidewalk. We're not properly protecting our cyclists on that road in any kind of way, whether it be, you know, a dedicated bike lane to let motorists know that, hey, somebody's gonna be in that, stay out of that lane, or even some type of rumble strip or barrier. It's just not there. I would love to see it there, because that's the artery of Kaiser is River Road. A lot of traffic goes up and down that every day.
Are you familiar with the Kaiser budget? The City of Kaiser's budget?
I am.
Limited resources that
Yep.
the city has for many wonderful items that need to be done. It's not just traffic or pedestrian safety, I mean, for safety. There's just a lot of things, so what suggestions or thoughts do you have around our limited funding and potential things that we could do?
Yeah, so in my line of work, we utilize a risk matrix, and we rank all of our hazards at the site based off of a severity, likelihood, and frequency rate. Those get put into a Excel spreadsheet, really fancy, not really, but it works. Those get put into Excel spreadsheet. We look at what's going to require capital, what's not. Obviously, the stuff that's not, we can knock out as regular employees at the site. We could go down to Lowe's, buy what we need to. The long-term things we worked with are capital funding from the employer, from Sherwin, and bring outside engineers in. But we deal with resource allocation all the time. I'm currently trying to get a $2 million project approved at work to provide a rail line catwalk that right now things are tight. So we're being told, no, not this year. What can we do to try to make it safer? So we have to come up with different solutions to allow the employees to access the top of rail cars without the catwalk, but still be safe so they don't have that fall hazard. I would listen to, you know, what the budget is, what we can feasibly do. I know one of the members on the board right now has been trying to get green cyclist lane strip painting for a while. That just doesn't seem to be going anywhere because it keeps being told it's in the budget. Someday, hopefully, if he keeps asking for it, we should get it.
You know, Mid Valley Soccer Club, on your application.
Yeah,
What's your role there?
I assistant coached my daughter's team for 2 seasons till she told me I'd make a better parent than a coach. So
And-
apparently she didn't like me yelling on the sideline as a coach.
And I imagine it has something to do with health, but what is an EHS manager?
Environmental health and safety, you know. So everything from our stormwater, DEQ, EPA, it's a headache. The other 2 organizations that I volunteered with, one is the Region 10 VPPPA. It's a mouthful again, but that is a voluntary protection program participants association. The VPP is an organization within OSHA that gives out rankings or ratings to work sites that establish, are you going above and beyond? You have to be one of those work sites. So 2 of my former employers were. I got on that board. We did everything from conference planning to recruitment, mentoring activities, you name it. The Sharp Alliance, I'm currently at the technology chair on that. I guess I was the young guy in the room. I don't know how I got that role, but just helping them with their website design. And the Sharp Alliance, City of Kaiser recently graduated from the Sharp program, so it was good to see see that as.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm Herb Sangster, live in here in Kaiser, Oregon. I here tonight to seek your recommendation to city council for another term on traffic, bikeway and pedestrian committee. So I thank you, Madam Chair and committee members for giving me the time to talk with you. I've been on the committee for some time and the committee merged with the Bikeways Committee, which I was one of the founding chairs of the Bikeways Committee back in 1996. My expertise that I've tried to use is I was the state risk manager. I was training health and safety manager for the Department of Consumer and Business Services. I basically was the safety officer over OSHA. So I have expertise there, and I went on to get training through the League of American Bicyclists as a cycling instructor. I've worked with ODOT traffic safety and got certified as a smart cycling instructor for the schools, as well as I've been a safe routes school instructor for Salem Kaiser schools, as well as way before that program even started. I was involved with the community schools with Salem Kaiser doing bike instruction. I do not know, I can't even remember how many bike skills events that I've been involved with over the years. It's probably in the thousands, working with all kids from high school all the way elementary all the way to college on how to ride a bike effectively and safely. I've also been on the, I think the last one was 2009, the Kaiser's traffic safety plan. I was involved in that. I'll be involved with it. The next one, I'm currently on the Marion County Rural Transportation Study. I'm an advisor on that related to the bike and bike pedestrian. I also was a commissioner for the transit district, so I picked up information on how buses work. And even on top of that, as Ms. Freeman knows, I was involved with the equestrian team. So I walk, drive, ride horses in the bus. So I'm kind of all the way around as far as our transportation that you might even see in Kaiser. Some of the things that I've been involved in here recently has been the helmet program, which helped get started in 1997. We just did fitted, I think about 40 helmets at the firehouse open house this Monday night. We served fest, we did over 60 helmets. We do between 150 to 200 helmets a year. David Dempster, who's another member of the committee who's helped, we kind of figure we've done about 6,000 helmets since 97 for Kaiser kids. As well as bike skills events, and even helped the police department get a bike for a kid that was injured that needed a bike. So. Do you have questions?
Good, thank you so much. Questions?
It's really not a question, just a comment. Hirsch, thank you. Been around forever. We can go there, but you've been on the traffic bikeways committee for years, and I know you keep asking for improvements and different things. Is there an area that is a high risk to you? There may be multiple, but could you just pick one?
Well, River Road, the north part, is the Great Barrier Reef. for cyclists, pedestrians in Kaiser. I know there's been study after study for improvement, but the cost to do that portion is just astronomical. And the county built that road, gave it to us, and didn't do it right, and we're stuck with it. But that is where the injuries, accidents, etc. that have in Kaiser, if we're gonna have a injury, it's gonna be in that section of River Road. And we need to widen it, we need to put sidewalks, we need to do all sorts of things, which is literally millions and millions of dollars. As far as cycling and pedestrian, Kaiser, if we could just start with maybe a little, excuse if I use the wrong word, slush fund for sidewalks. Because Kaiser was an old county town that has a lot of streets with no sidewalks. And if we could just do one street within our budget. Those are the kind of things, and try to focus around our schools. Kaiser Elementary, Cummings, Kennedy for sure. Those are kind of things. As far as cycling concerned, I'm kind of the one that wants some of the green paint in certain areas, not everywhere, because I know the cost, but there are certain areas like Lock Haven and River Road. There's 2 schools on both sides, and there are kids on a nice day. Mary's bike rack is full. And we are going to be working with the principal now at Kaiser to do a bike skills there and this next spring. And that's just one area. You just go a few blocks and you're in Salem, you start seeing the green. And it's been shown to be an engineering alert. Any street painting kind of gives an alert. So those are some of the things that over the years, especially at North River Road, when the police come in to report, there's always an accident on River Road. And it's that north part. Whether it's speeding, inattention, narrow streets, and I agree, when the people through scenic bikeways were asking the route, stay away from River Road.
It's gonna be a smile. Would you consider Kaiser blue for the bikeways? Everything.
I would love blue, but my favorite color is orange.
Oh, I know. Thank you so much for all the years of service, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you keeping kids' heads safe with helmets and providing that service. I think, as a parent, I try to warn other kids that don't have their helmet on, or even my own.
Thank
Put it
you.
on. You don't know, like you're in a cul-de-sac, it's fine. Like here, but you're gonna be riding around and somebody's gonna skip through.
The ones that I get after are the parents. Here are these kids with helmets and mom and dad don't have parents that have a helmet on. And I'm just saying, don't you love the kids? Because if you get a head injury, what's happening to the kids? And our program here, we charge $5. And if there's emergent need, we waive it. And the helmets aren't bike shop quality, but they meet the standards. And we fitted some parents too. I mean,
Are they, so they're not like the MIPS, cause I've seen like the different helmets.
they're not MIPS.
Okay.
I mean, we got a deal. There's a company in Tacoma that caters to nonprofits called Helmets Are Us. And it's the same one that the trauma nurses use. And we've been using them for several years. We get them at a really good price. Helmets are about $12 each, give or take, plus $1 shipping. Now they haven't raised the price, but we have to buy 24 to get that price. So, and we're down to our last 4 helmets, so we're gonna have to be going out to the community again and maybe applying for a grant or 2 and getting helmets.
Have you reached out to Kaiser Rotary?
We are going to, that was on my list, Kaiser Rotary. we have one member, past member of the traffic safety, Wayne Fry, who is quite a cyclist, so we'll use him and Kevin Dial mentioned, hey, go to Rotary, and so, yeah. And Rotary has given us money in the distant past for helmets. And at $200 or $300, we can get 40 helmets.
Councilor
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Sangster, looking at your resume and some of the things you talked about, do you have time to make cookies or anything for the, is that why you don't have the cookie ride anymore?
Well, I'm not doing the cookie ride, but it's still going on. There are other people that are putting on. And it starts in be the last Sunday in April, and it's now starting at McNairy High School.
So all the things you've been involved in, you know, to be a Kaiser First Citizen.
I was in 2019, so I can't. I got Kaiser First Citizen and then COVID hit.
I'm on my hands now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it?
We're good.
There is one little project that I'm hoping to get started is working with the city manager, the police. I think they volunteered Trevor Whittings to work on it and somebody from Public Works to look at e-bikes and the issues that they present, and if there's anything we can do to lessen the effect either on the streets or in the park. But we haven't met as a group yet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think when you talked about River Road, talking about Southward.
The south part, yeah. The north part, on the whole is, and I use that as a part of. Mary Ann and I have been during the spring through summer, we lead a 12-mile bike ride, starting at Kaiser Rapid Park, out Verdina and Wheatland, and we come up on the River Road Hill. And it's a nice bike path, and the city of Kaiser is one of the better cities about keeping the streets clean, and that helps cycling. So, yeah.
Looking at like the cost, because River Road is long and going south towards Fred Meyer, I've ridden that on my bike and I chose to go on the sidewalk, of course, instead of back roads, but. Do you think there's a cheaper way to do alternative route instead of straight down River Road, given the amount of traffic? Because I think
Yes.
that would be a heavy expense.
Um,
You guys looked at that on that committee? Like-
we have, and Cherry was one of our very early, when Cherry was being redeveloped way back. I was on the committee then, and we got bikeways, and that facility can take you on a bikeway facility from Kaiser all the way to the Capitol. Because once you get across past by Home Depot, you turn to right, and there is Bike Boulevard all the way down Maple Street, all the way downtown. So, yeah, that is one alternative. The other alternative is Shoreline and that way around, because when it comes out at River Park, there's a bike facility. So yes, there is, and we worked on that and we made those recommendations. A lot of the stuff, Salem doing it, but we've been able to over the years say to Salem, think about this. So.
I have to take the bike path, along the, Archway,
Oh, okay.
but it doesn't have a lot of entrances on it.
That is another thing we have talked about is when ODOT built it, and that's ODOT, not the city of Kaiser. They just built it and didn't really ask where it's going. One of the things that we tried to do, and I think you remember, is get signage so people know where Ben Miller Park is when you're on that, where Kaiser Station is, not so much business portions, but there's Kaiser Station, and where the baseball park is and stuff. And we were trying to get signage when we were working with ODOT. And ODOT said, well, the cost to put them in. And we were going to put them in for them, but they would pay. Was about $3,000, and they came back to us and said. That's too cheap, that's not worth us doing the paperwork.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very disappointing.
Yeah, there was a lot of work in the sign design and making sure
Yeah,
that like at the end, wherever you were, you know, if you went right, what you could find. There was a lot of work, yeah. that was a great
And
project.
I and a lady from ODOT that was on the committee, Patty, and we had everything and worked with Mike Griffin and everything, and
Great project.
yeah, but
Very
Yeah.
expensive.
yeah, if we'd said we needed 50,000, they would have done it, but $3,000, no, it's too little.
Very good, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I move to close nominations. Or, yeah. Second, that nomination.
Okay, we have a motion to close nominations. Second, any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. No, opposed? Abstain.
I move to put them forth as a slate.
Have a second.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to put forth Mr. Sangster, Mr. Welsh as a slate, as consideration to city council. And a second, I did,
Yeah.
and a second, I'm sorry, I said that. Thank you. So do we have some discussion?
I do.
So, thank you.
Daisy, I know you were here last the last time we met. And there was a lot of confusion around positions 1 and 2 and putting the slate forward, and that's why we're gonna talk about it later. So I just wanna be clear, when you say slate forward, you're putting them for all the open positions?
Yes.
Okay, so instead of voting individually for position 1 and 2. Because we have two, I'm just trying to make sure that because we had such confusion last month.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make sure that I'm really clear, because after we voted, there was a lot of confusion of like. Why we did what we did, and so I'm just trying to make sure. That I understand that you're putting the 2 positions or the 2 candidates forward. And it doesn't matter if they go in 1 or 2, that's
Well-
really irrelevant. It's just we're putting 2 people forward because we have 2 open positions.
So, yes, but I can absolutely amend my motion. If, to make it clearer, if that's,
No, I just want
Yeah.
clarity, so I'm
Yeah.
good with the motion, I just wanna make sure that.
Yeah.
I'm like
Go
that.
ahead.
so I would put, Michael Welsh forward for position 1, just because Hirsch is already in position 2, and then Hirsch in position 2.
So you're saying you want to put that forth to city council without taking a vote? Or,
Put that forth as, and then we vote on that as,
oh, okay,
so that is the motion, is that those names go forward
To vote.
to, yeah,
to vote on.
and then we vote on that. And then that's what goes,
So we vote on position 1 and position 2 separately.
I wasn't,
Okay,
as the slate. As I understand how we've always done that, and I am sorry, because I did miss all of the confusion, so. I'm just going off of what has been done. If you would prefer, we can do it individually, that's totally fine. In the past, we've done a slate when we have like the 2 people, the 2 positions. It's, just for ease, but if it's not easy, then that's totally fine. I'm not married to this idea.
I prefer a slate also. You know, to just have if there are two positions that are the exact same length and term. It's silly because the position one, position two does not matter. It's just we need two people. And so. I'm happy being able to vote one time and vote for up to two people. That's what this would be, because there's two positions, so we can vote for up to two people
On one ballot.
on one ballot. Rather than voting position one and then position two. Okay.
Does that make sense, Stacy?
So in the past, I haven't done a ballot for those things, so that. Doesn't make sense on it. It doesn't, so. I sincerely apologize, because clearly things happened that I was not. So I am more than happy to withdraw my motion, because this is causing a lot more. This is doing the opposite of what I was hoping to.
This is the way we used to do it, the way you're suggesting.
Mhm, yes.
And that's, so I thought that was far more efficient and. Because last time when you weren't here, what was weird was.
I think we're getting in conversations that we can have
Right, okay,
after.
right, because we have that
So,
on the
yes,
agenda.
yes.
Okay, so you're withdrawing the motion.
I will withdraw the motion.
Okay, so we'll vote
Yes.
on position one.
One.
Maurice.
I don't know.
Okay, so we have Daisy, Michael Welsh. Leslie, Michael Welsh. Jane Hirsch. And Kim Hirsch. So we have a tie. See, that's what happens when we don't do.
Yep.
That's late. That's whether who's on one or two. So we have to vote again. Because we have no clear winner. Daisy, Michael, Leslie, Michael. Jane Hirsch and Kim Hirsch.
All right,
Motion back on the table. No.
can. I'm gonna ask our council liaison for purposes of propriety. Is there anything precluding me from saying who I'm going to vote for so that we can stop doing this over and over again?
For ease of what we're doing. Why don't we take one ballot and vote for up to two people, we can be, and call that.
Okay.
Does anything different? Okay, so. Voting a third time.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're doing a slate basically.
Basically,
Yes.
so.
So I'm personally crossing out this position number to make it clear that that's what I'm doing.
This is vote 3.
Yes, and then also changing it to vote 3.
Do we need a motion?
Okay.
I will move that we adopt Counselor Kohler's suggestion for this vote.
You know what that motion is, Dawn?
That we use one ballot and vote for up to two people for the two positions.
So,
Is that correct?
right, so if somebody didn't want Hirsch to be on this thing, they just might vote for Michael or vice versa. And, that way you just add up the number of votes each person gets. Is that clear, Don? Thank you.
Give a second, please.
Second.
There we are, a motion and a second to use our third vote to vote for up to 2 people. Do you have any discussion? Discussion. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay. So, motion passes, let's go ahead and vote again. Leslie Hirsch and Michael, Daisy Hirsch and Michael, Jane Hirsch and our recommendation, Kim Hirsch and Michael. So it looks like we have 3 votes for each. 3 and 4 votes, and that would be majority for both people. So we will put forward both of your names for city council to be on the traffic safety and bikeway pedestrians committee. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your patience.
Yeah, we understand that.
You know, now you got it worked out for the next group.
You think?
Councilor Collins.
May I make a suggestion that we take care of the student next, because she has Salem Symphony practice to go to.
Very good, thank you for that suggestion, is everyone good with that? Yeah. Okay, good, thank you, we will do that, thank you for the good suggestion.
Just loaded us at first.
Okay. Alright, so you're getting to those pages. 4 and 5. Alright.
Either be here, your voice phone.
Alright, so our next committee is for a youth liaison to the planning commission. And we have 1 applicant tonight, and that is Miss Talia Massacre. Am I mispronouncing that? Talia Massacre.
Yeah.
Talia, okay, thank you. Would you come and talk to us and tell us a little bit about yourself? Just about 5 minutes, then we'd love to ask you questions. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, I'm Talia Massacre. I'm a senior at McNary High School. And I've lived in Kaiser my whole life. And I have driven by City Hall for a long time. And I've been that's a cool building, but I haven't really understood there's a lot that goes on here. Until so the band came here for the community day cleanup. And we got to go inside the break room, and I realized there's actually offices in here, there's actually a lot that goes on in here. So then I came back and I went to the cultural museum area, and I went through the art gallery and met some people there, and everyone's so nice and friendly, and I was this seems kind of a place I want to be in this in the community area and stuff. And I also volunteer at the Humane Society every week for about a year now, and just the people that invest and give back in the community are so nice and just the best people, and those are people I want to be around. Those are people I want to learn from, and So I just think it'd be really cool to get to be in City Hall, like making a difference in my community and learning about like what goes on and stuff, like. Cause this all just seems like really cool and stuff. And I think I'd be qualified. I have like a lot of responsibilities at school. I am the state champion for solo flute, and so I have a lot of responsibilities in band. And I'm the principal player for the Salem Youth Symphony and my school's symphony and wind ensemble. And I was the section leader for the marching band for the past 2 years. So I have to teach my peers and just like lead a lot. And I show up to school like every day and stuff, and I do my best with my grades, and I'm very invested in everything I do, and I'm very interested in getting to learn about like what goes on here, and I think it would be a really great opportunity.
Thank you so much for that. Questions? Go ahead, Daisy.
You said you're a senior, do you have, and it's totally valid not to. Do you have any plans for what you want to do after high school?
I want to go to college. I'm applying to selective schools like USC and Rice, and Johns Hopkins, and then also like local schools like Willamette and U of O. But yeah, I want to go to college and maybe pursue like a degree in flute and double major with environmental science.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. Of all the committees that you selected here, is there a passion or a reason you selected the planning commission? And I say that with love, just so you know. I used to sit on city council, and my dear friend, Councilor Parsons, I used to sit on as one of the liaisons to the traffic pedestrian bikeways, and she goes, Kim, you really need to sit on planning. And I'm like, but you know what, it was one of the best experiences that I had as a city councilor, is being on the planning commission, because the information that's discussed is incredible and it's growth of the city. But then when it comes to council, it's like, I heard it for the second time, and then I really like sunk in because planning's not my background. So I'm just curious why you selected the planning.
Well, it's like very different from everything else I do in my life. Like I'm very arts invested, and the planning commission is like, that's like totally different from what I would normally be doing. And I mean, I'm still young, so I have like a lot to learn. I think it'd be really interesting to learn about a new area. And the planning commission sounds very important, and I'd love to be a part of the important.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, planning commission often, at least for the people on planning commission, is a lot of homework, right?
Yeah, the packets are in depth. But it's a great way to learn about a lot of things, like you learn about zoning and what I love, I have a housing background, so when we talked about middle housing and cottage clusters and like all the things you can do around housing, like that, I mean, exciting to me. But there's just so many other things that you learn about the city, or what you cannot do, or, you know, when the legislature decides we do a whole bunch of things, it's like, how does the city incorporate everything the legislature mandates the small city like us, and we have limited staffing, so there's just a lot of things that, you know, we'd love to do, but our resources are limited. So it's just, it's a huge learning opportunity. Again, I just applaud you for selecting this committee, and I think you'll do great in your ambition to learn. This is a great committee to sit on, so.
And it is important, you mentioned it's important, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the city council and planning commission that are the only two committees that are in our charter that we have to have them. So I think Mount Boyer told me that at one point, and it's a commission rather than a committee. So it's slightly different, very important.
You also have to be remembered and elected.
As a youth liaison, she would be, so.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that. So yes, other Leslie, you have a question?
I just said a comment. I think it's great that you are getting uncomfortable and doing something that you're not comfortable with. I think that's where you have the most growth. And I hope that in that experience from before, that it's a eye-opening and just an amazing experience for you to be able to sit around the experience here at the city.
Okay, thank you very much.
You have
Close.
Oh,
Second.
So we have the motion and second to close the nominations for the youth committee liaison to the planning commission. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and motion passes. Does somebody want to make another motion?
Yep, I move that we, present
Talia,
Talia, thank you, because I worked with Natalia, so when I say that, I always think, Ms. Carr, if I say that, to, the Kaiser City Council for review, on the Kaiser Youth, liaison for the planning commission.
I will second.
we have a motion and a second to put forward Talia Massacre to city council as the youth committee liaison to planning commission. Any discussion? And with that, all in favor, aye? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We're excited to put you forward to city council and you will hear from them once that decision is made. It has to go before them. Usually it's kind of a formality. And I'm glad to have you. Thanks for being here.
Are you still the one that contacts them? Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Good luck tonight.
All right, and then we're moving back to parks. And we have 3 openings and 3 incumbents wanting to re-up, so that's wonderful. Thank you for being here. So, we will ask each of you to come up and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the committee again. And I will just take you in order that you're listed here, so Tanya, would you like to come up? Thank you.
Hello. I'm Tanya Hamilton and I'm a resident here of Kaiser. Moved here in 2008. Bought a house because we needed to raise our family, and we've been here ever since. I grew up in Dallas, went to Western Oregon, so lived in this community and really thought when we bought a house, this is where we wanted to live. It's small, and it just has met all of our needs. I did start the Rickman Community Garden, now known as Peg and Jerry Moore. They were gardeners of ours, and they took that garden and they just took it to the next level, which was fantastic, and it was exactly what needed to happen. So I'm so grateful for them. I have not done any more community garden work, so I'm gonna be real. However, Kate was a part of the Parks Board when my littles were little. And then I stepped away for a period of time and just, I'm in love with it. I'm an active walker in our community. I go into parks even though my kids are now older. I've got a senior and a 8th grader. So they don't go to the parks as much. And if they do, it's usually me forcing them. Gotten into pickleball and all the fun things that Kaiser is now bringing. And want to be the voice for our neighbors and our visitors, making sure that our parks are accessible and safe. And I love having hard conversations, so I'm not going to be the person that likes to go with the flow. And that sometimes is hard, but I make sure that I want to connect with people and understand each other and why we might disagree and we might have differences of opinion, but we're still all living here together and we gotta make it work. So I think when I originally started in the Parks Board, they were like, there's a lot of people in there that are doing, they've been doing this for a long time. Are you gonna, have a voice? And I was like, of course I have. And so that's something that we continue to do. The Parks Board has great camaraderie right now, and we have for years now. I think we've got great additions, and I'm excited that the same people are reapplying because I feel like we still have lots of work to do and we work really well together. So that's a little bit about me and my why. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Anyone have a question?
Thank you, Chair. So I can vouch when Tanya started when her children were littles. And when you said how old he was, I was like, oh, that was a really long time ago for both of us. And I do see you walking with me. So, do you have a favorite park?
Let's see, I would say, right, well, we've been going a lot to Kaiser Rapids because of the pickleball courts. And I walk from my Webster neighborhood to Kaiser Rapids pretty regularly on the weekends and then hang out there at the dog park and then head back home. So I would say that, but I do live right next to Bob Newton and it's a beautiful park. And with all the new additions, I mean, my niece, she's like my second niece, came over, a nephew, and they had a blast. So I'm in Bob Newton pretty like daily, walking through the alleyway or the access. Yeah, I've got a lot of great, I mean, Claggett, I used to live off of Harcourt, where am I at? And so I was at Claggett regularly, and then Bob, I said, Ben Miller was there regularly, and we moved out of the area before that got upgraded, so I was so grateful when that got upgraded. So I've got a lot of parks that I'm really excited about. But yeah, those are the ones I frequent the most.
And is there one on the to-do list for next as your parks committee? So, and I probably should know that, so I'll just say I don't, but is there like a park you guys are focusing on? I don't, thoughts putting forward.
To be honest, Bob Newton was the one where I was like, this place is rough. So when that got done, I was really excited. I think that Country Glen is probably an area that is gonna need some love at some point. Just noticing that the equipment's kind of getting rough and the surfacing isn't accessible like the other parks are getting or have. So I would say that would probably be my like an area of focus, or it should be. So yeah. I'm also in Country Glen all the time. I walk that. I see Shane all the time. She's all lit up this morning. She's all had all of her stuff. I was like, I know who that is. She was busy talking. I was but yeah, I walk that neighborhood and Hidden Creek pretty regularly. So yes, absolutely.
I just had a comment. I've noticed a lot of the comments around from Salemite, so I call them.
Yeah.
That Kaiserites are doing a good job of the parks, and I hope you guys hear that for the volunteer hours that you're putting in and the man hours, like it doesn't go unnoticed, and I'm very grateful that there's people that wanna serve, and thank you for continuing to wanna serve our community.
Thank you
so much, neighbor. And she was our customer, her hound. All right, so my, what's next on that list? If my height.
Members, Councilor Kohler. How's everybody this evening? Okay, my name is Mike Pantalone. I've been on the Kaiser Parks Advisory Board since 2019. Some things about myself. I'm a native Oregonian. I enjoyed being born in Portland, and my father was stationed here and actually moved around the world. Came back to settle here in 1976. So I'm a McNary grad. And although even after I graduated, I lived around Salem somewhat. Both the houses I bought have been in the Kaiser area, and that started in the year 2000. Actually, no, 1997. So I've been in the Kaiser area quite a bit. Volunteering is something that I've done for quite a while. I was a reserve deputy sheriff of Marion County. I've been involved with Salem Harvest, doing that for a few years as an assistant. Also, my wife and I were the managers for Kaiser CERT for about 3 years. The next thing that was in, also I was involved with areas involved with Kaiser CERT, which is the amateur radio emergency service. we kind of went along with doing Kaiser Cert. I've been working in mental health for about 40 years. One of the things I work is I work with individuals with mental illness, altered realities, and those with special needs and differing abilities. I've also had a grandchild with those special needs that passed away a few years ago, which kind of made my focus on ADA somewhat stronger because I think that accessibility for everybody is really important. Matter of fact, Bob Newton was just mentioned a few minutes ago. One of the things I like about that is, for instance, the merry-go-round there is one that a wheelchair can access, which is very cool. And I see those things happening. Actually, there's a park over in Redmond that I loved. I can't remember the first name, but Johnson is the last name on that park. And that park is kind of the epitome of what I love about accessibility. And I feel like we're starting to find those things here in Kaiser, and I would really push for those things moving forward. I think inclusivity and accessibility is really important to me. One of the other things that kind of came up when it comes to parks is it's not just about improving the parks all the time, it's about the people who live around the parks too. You know, one of the things that we've come up with dealing with Kaiser Rapids and the sport field being put in there is the problem with the noise that happens. We thought it would be the lights, and actually it wasn't the lights, it ends up being the noise more than anything else, and the lights are an issue just because people tend to be out making noise later in the evening. So those are things we have to deal with, and we have to take into consideration the people that live in the area. We're trying to make decisions. So sometimes those can be pretty hard decisions because it, goes, with the usability of it, but we have to take in mind what's going on and how it affects the neighbors, being good neighbors. Anyway, that's mostly what I have. Right now, my two parks are Country Glen and Northview Terrace. We usually get assigned parks to look at. Country Glen, as a matter of fact, is up on the next cycle through for improvement on the playground. And one of the things I'm been talking with Robert about is the possibility of moving the playground away from the road a little ways so that the kids don't have possibility of running out into the street quite as quickly. And I would hope to also get some sort of port in there also, but we have to see what happens as far as the budget goes for that. Do you have any questions for me?
It's fine. Any questions?
I got a comment.
Daisy.
I am really pleased about the whole accessibility thing. I always think that I'm, pretty aware of things, but then like when I had a cousin who had cerebral palsy, you don't realize how difficult it is to manage with wheelchairs. And so, and I started noticing several years ago, I'm like, oh, we're getting those full swings that she passed away, but
Right.
she could have swung in. My stepdaughter's she works with autism a lot, and she notices it. So it is noticed, and it is very appreciated. Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, thank you, Chair. That stole my thunder there, baby.
Sorry.
No, I think it's great, and I would hope that you would continue that voice, and as we look to other improvements in the park or even other parts of the city, that we look at that, and I think you have an extreme advantage over someone who didn't have a child with disability, because I think like Dave said, we think we see things, but we don't really know what it's like if we don't have that lived experience. And so, one of my joys is going to the Big Toy when you see all the swings being utilized by someone with a disability. And I've heard Bob Newton twice now, so I guess I need to go for a good long walk and get over there and check that one out. So thank you.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you all.
And when?
There you go, man.
My name is Gwen Carr, and I moved here about 4 years ago from southern Utah. I used to live in California near the beach, so we missed the beach a lot, so we wanted to be closer to the beach. And I found out that Kaiser had 19 parks. I've been to all of them. I loved it. And I was a Girl Scout leader for 18 years, so of course I love nature. And I decided there was an opening because Kyle Duran's son had to resign his position and I was able to fill in to that position and then I ran again. And I love the parks board. Tanya said we have great camaraderie between us and we really do. We all get along really well and that's about all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Spirit serving.
Do you have any questions?
Question. Kim,
You sure? Do you have a favorite park?
My favorite park is Claggett Creek. And that is one of my parks. My park is Claggett Creek this time and the baseball field. Baseball field is incredible. Claggett Creek is because when I go there, you know, my daughter is grown and everything. And all I can think of is, God, this would have been a perfect park to bring Girl Scouts to. All the amenities there, and I mean, I just love it, you know. So that is my favorite park, you know, I'm not used to seeing we have wonderful parks. We have wonderful parks. And so, I mean, we have 19 parks in this little tiny town, you know, so that is my favorite park.
Thank you.
Again, comment, so Claggett Creek is my park, I'm across the
Pardon me?
street. Claggett Creek is my park, I'm across the street from
Oh,
it,
cool.
in fact, it's like 60% of why I bought my house, was because that park was right there, and so my stepdaughters really enjoyed it, back when we had an actual merry-go-round, which they are still bitter about. But that's fun. But my grandson, who is 5 now, we go there all of the time. And it's really exciting to see, they cleared out a bunch of the brush along the creek, as part of redoing the wetlands, which I'm not sure how much Parks Board was involved with that. But there's also tree planting that was happening while my grandson and I were down there. So it is lovely, and I appreciate the work that you do on that. And then, with the Kaiser Little League, that was also another reason, because while I do not like children right next to me, I love hearing because I can hear the baseball in the spring, and when the kids laughing and stuff like that, you can actually, you know, hear it all the way down here. And so, I know that when Mike was talking about the sound, I know a lot of people complain about that sound, but I'm like, how are you complaining about happy people? Like, but anyway, so thank you very much for what you have done.
It could be worse, it could be like firecrackers going off and stuff.
Okay, and I do complain about that.
Thank you, Gwen, for your service and thank you for volunteering. I know it takes time and I'm very grateful for you guys. With Kaiser Little League Park, can you tell me a little bit about kind of what's been going on since you've served that park?
Not a whole lot, I don't think, but I mean, it's huge. It is really huge and they just had a team come out and they wanna expand it and stuff and build it up and the city council, Commissioner Kohler could tell you all about that. We were there and it was like amazing what they're gonna do it. But I was kind of like sad because is it gonna take away from our kids? You know, to make it such a big park and elaborate park. You know, I mean, cause it's great the way it is. You know, at least I think so. It's huge.
all right, thank you so much for your volunteer time.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to close nominations? Oh, I'm sorry. Come back. Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pine Creek Park may not have a merry-go-round anymore, but it has a fishing pole.
Yeah, I still haven't figured that out. They climb on it, so I mean, it makes the kids happy and that's what it's for.
Hey, Bruce?
So we done now?
Yeah, I think so.
They want the pain of the actual
I
battle.
wanna swing off with my legs hanging, yeah.
Well, that's for your ear to go.
Ready to go.
There's a tiny little spinny thing, but you can't get very many kids on there, and so I have to, be yelling at them to take turns and stuff like that.
Okay, is there a motion to close
I
nomination?
move to close the nominations for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Daisy seconds.
We have a motion and a second to close the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. 3 positions, with terms ending 12/20/28. No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I do.
Okay,
I will be brave.
go for it.
So I move that we put forth the slate of Tanya Hamilton for position 1. Mike, it's Antelone for position 2, and Gwen Carr for position 3.
I second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Was that you, was seconded? No. I was seconded.
Sorry, mostly. Okay. Then, let's vote, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, let's go ahead and to our voting.
We have to do a ballot as well. I don't think, well, because the motion was to put forth our names.
To city council.
Yeah, for all. So we don't, just like when we did, Leah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine, then we don't have to vote, yes,
we don't have to have a ballot, yeah. We did, but
okay. So thank you to all 3 of you, we're going to put all 3 of you forward to city council and you'll hear from them. Thanks for serving again.
you guys.
I don't know if you guys hear, but thank you for serving. I know you guys come around every year and I thank everybody, bring cookies and everything. I don't know if you guys get cookies yourself.
We do.
So thanks for all you guys
Yeah, we
do.
did something in April.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to the mayor's.
This lady is also on the Parks Board. She's here to give us support.
Very good, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And she's making goodies over there.
Yeah, it always is, and I always like,
So the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association started, yeah.
I'm a quitter. I mean, there's still stuff going on here, and
Okay, so our other business is, we have a special guest here for, from the CDEP committee. And Robin, you are here to talk to us. It doesn't look like, Fausto, arrived to be your teammate, but we're happy to have you here. Thanks so much.
don't be scared.
I went to the CDEP committee recently just to bring everybody up to speed. They asked me to come and talk about our process for how people get on volunteer committees. And so I presented what our committee does and they asked questions and they had some really great suggestions as far as trying to help us get the word out more to Kaiser and to people when there are what committees there are and when there are availability spots and so Robin is here to talk to us about their ideas. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Robin Barney, Chair of the CDEC Committee. A few months ago, we discussed. Well, it has been an ongoing discussion about how we can help Kaiserites become more familiar with interactions with the city, joining committees, working through processes for permits or what have you. So what we had decided was that maybe we could go out and help some of our regular committees, picking the volunteer committee first, because this is where it all begins, is with the volunteer committee, selecting volunteers to be on committees. And our idea was to help put together a video production, more like a podcast is what I'm here to say. And utilizing McNary High School, their audio, video, getting city staff involved as well. But developing a video that walks someone through applying for a position on another city committee. We've heard things like it's a little confusing, takes a long time, they don't know how to do it. Even though there is written information and instructions there, perhaps a video that they could click on and either stop it so they can get one piece completed and then go on to something else. Very short, very comprehensive, and so that's what I am here to propose, that we would like to help put a video together for the volunteer coordinating committee to help applicants work through the process to get here. And hopefully more volunteers for other committees and the city as a whole as well. Like I said, we would like to utilize those resources that we have in the city, McNary. We haven't yet talked to them, but I'm sure that they would be more than amicable to come on board and help us put together a video. The script, however, would have to come from you folks. We can read the information, but it would be our interpretation. So we would definitely need a script. Or we would also like involvement from the volunteer coordinating committee as the production goes on. And that's all I have. Do you have questions?
Daisy.
So you said two things. You said a video and a podcast. So
Well-
are you thinking that it's like, and it's okay if you guys don't have an idea yet, but are you thinking it's like we follow a person going through the process, or is it just somebody saying what happens? Like, is it a reenactment sort of thing?
We have two going on. What would best be a value for this committee more than likely would be a video where somebody is walking through the process. All right, I'm gonna admit it. I haven't seen a podcast. I have no idea what they look like. But evidently everybody else on my committee has, and so that was also, they thought that a podcast would work as well, but we're willing to help and do it and coordinate. But you would have to help us get the information and decide video or podcast as well.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be more of a video, so when you apply, you know, you're seeing the opening, you're going online, so it's pretty much like you've seen videos where they're like mouse clicking, here's how you do it. You can have instruction in a lot of different languages, that sort of thing. Podcast is like long-term, like city, I would think, involvement, with different things, different mechanisms, different committees and that type of stuff, which I think would cost more. So I don't know if you guys had thought about like the cost or the budget for this, like how, you know, because there's gonna have to be city involvement, so staff, and then, you know, the people that actually do it, are they gonna do it for free? Like, you know.
Right. We haven't gotten that far yet. It was an idea that perhaps we just wanted to make sure that you would like to entertain. And then we could move forward to find more information. We just felt as though that you are the foundation for staffing other committees in the city, and that we should start with you first, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much. And, you know, I requested Robin to come and talk to us because I thought we should all be involved, and, so I really do thank you for coming in. I like the idea a lot, and I think the cost could be quite inexpensive if we're going to work with McNary, you know, the APT program there, like the production technology. Might be something that they just jump all over because it would be a good project for them and involve the students and things. The rec also has a podcasting facility, so it could be that we talk to the folks at the rec about helping put that together.
Leslie touched on it just in, you know, if we, I'm gonna say when we do a video, right? And multi-languages, or at least
Yes.
the top languages in Kaiser, because I think that, I know we still put our information out in Spanish, correct, our packet and. Okay, so I think that's important. I like the video. I'm wondering if we, when we have kind of everything put together and we have some costs. That if we could potentially add that to our budget, volunteer coordinating committee budget ask. Right, so I think we increased it to what, $1,000 our budget now, but
Yeah, we might have money. in the
we could
budget.
potentially have some money maybe in our budget to cover the costs, if not. You know, this is a great time to have the conversation, because it's October and we'll be starting budget in a few months, believe it or not. So if it's, you know, just. I'm just gonna say another $1,000 and we don't have that in our budget, that we could put forth an ask. In the budget process to fund this. I don't think that that's unreasonable if it came to that, right?
Yeah.
And obviously,
I
we
know.
try to do everything for free, and then the goodness of all of our hearts and even our school, right? But understanding how, you know, just resources are tight for a lot of, you know, entities, that if we did need to pay for something, or, you know, we could at least look at all that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Exactly, we didn't anticipate that cost would be that much, especially utilizing the school and knowing that they like doing these projects and usually need to have one, so that's utilizing McNary, and I'm the person that doesn't like to pay for anything. So I would definitely find funds somewhere in the community so that we don't have to use tax dollars to communicate back to the community what we're trying to do is, you know, get some volunteers. And Kim, I'm sorry, yes, we were thinking that 2 of the top 2 languages and English, that would be translated into. Because that's where our barriers are a lot of the time.
I think it's a good idea. I'm glad that you guys brought it to us, and I think we could work together to make it happen. I think, like you said, just the steps of like the budget, what it's gonna cost, who's gonna do the work. I think that it will also entice younger people to get involved, because, you know, they're on their phones, they're on social media and that type of stuff, and I think there's definitely a draw for that, and I think that could be a plus on our side, that we would get more candidates in front of us to, you know, more variety, and maybe people that we wouldn't normally see. I think that's awesome.
And to that point, Leslie, let's see, the one of the questions they asked me, was it harder to fill certain committees? And I couldn't really think of that, but I did say that we had sometimes find hard time finding the youth liaisons. And so I think that's where we were going with that too, that we want to encourage more youth to apply to these.
And truthfully, having them do the video and the production of it and getting those kids excited, you know, it's gonna be a buzz a little bit here and there, and hopefully recruit some of the McNary students to volunteer.
The video too.
I think the ideas that popped into my mind were like people that are already on the committees that are serving or have served. To say what their experience was, get them excited after you kind of explain the process and say like, hey, I was on it for 9 years, it gave me this experience going into college, and then even just people in the professional world, why they keep doing it. So I loved hearing, you know, the people are excited, they really enjoyed the Parks Board, they all work together, even if they have a difference of opinions for the greater good of the city. And I think that collaboration, I think, sparks ideas and continues that volunteerism that we pride ourselves on, so.
Builds a good foundation for the future for whoever's doing it, truthfully.
So my question is actually for Councilor Fuller. At what point and what information? Because I'm assuming we should take this to city council at some point, or is this something that we can just go whole hog on? Because it sounds like we're all in agreement that this is a good idea.
Not sure whole hog would be the right description, but I think that if you examine it and it makes sense and you think, hey, this is what I want to do, then we need to ascertain if there's going to be costs involved. And once that's done, then you take it to budget and see if we have funds for it.
And that part I understand, but the other part is because we are a city committee and we will be presenting ourselves. Or, you know, this video is going to be presented as basically from the city of Kaiser. That's kind of what my concern is, more than the money, because the money makes total sense to me, and I'm confident with how we would need to do that.
Right, so Madam Chair and Daisy, this would need to be reviewed and make sure that the process is what we want it to be. And that we make sure that we're not doing anything that's contrary to what our rules and procedures currently are before we cut video or put a script together. But if you've got a subcommittee that says, hey, this is what we want to do, and you put that together and you bring it here and you say, yep, that looks right, then you would want to take it to our legal department and take it to some of the folks that do all of the recruitment and run through the process to make sure that everything is accurate, and then we could move forward.
Okay.
And I would imagine that at some point, the council will want to just know what's going on with it. But I don't think there's anybody on the council that's gonna go, oh, there's no way, we shouldn't be doing it.
I agree, but like, what kind of information, because I'm assuming that when you do your monthly report, that this will be brought up. That this was talked about.
I will make a mention that it's discussed. And then, you know, John would need to have Ms. Wilson would need to have a say in what's going on with that and make sure it's accurate. Then we'll need to take it by legal, and then we'll need to make sure the link was suitable for it to be placed on our website, where to put it. And so there's a lot of moving parts, but I think that as a committee, if you look at it and say, yep, this is what we want to do, and you put all of the steps together, then we just need to approve it and we can go forward. And I think that you could have people that have served on the committee for a long time. Maybe the mayor would want to be part of it. We're talking about volunteerism, important that it is. So there's all those things that can be done, but first we need to put some kind of a script together before we can move on.
So, Madam Chair, what I am understanding then is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Robin, is that CDEX come saying, hey, we have this idea. Is this something that it is beneficial for us to proceed with all of the other, you know, information that we're looking at? So is this something that we may want to do, like Councilor Fuller mentioned, like maybe a subcommittee to just say, you know, hey, work with Robin. Robin, are you spearheading this, or are you just here because you'll talk in front of us?
Bosco and I are both spearheading this particular.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like to me, that we need to have volunteers from our committee that work with Robin and Fausto. And put together the ideas and the structure of the video.
And get in a budget, and what it is that we need, because
Right,
we think, oh, it's gonna be this and this and this, and then we talk to APT and they're like, oh yeah, but then we also need this and this and
Yeah.
this that you guys have no idea about, so.
So
Right.
there's, the reason I say subcommittee is because you have to have less than a quorum in order to meet without being noticed. And so. So you have to have less than.
so that would be what, number 2, 3?
Three.
Yeah, 3 or less, 3 or fewer. Does anybody want to be part of this subcommittee?
So do we need to vote to create a subcommittee before we do that, or do we? You guys have more experience down the over on that side of the table.
I'd like to have some, at least all of our.
Maybe
Members that are
here.
not here, just.
Right.
I mean, I think we have a good foundation, but I think we should put it on our next agenda so that committee members that aren't here. have, can weigh in. I couldn't imagine any of them saying no, but
But they might want to be involved too, so I'll just move ahead without anything. Right, that makes sense, so can we add that to our?
and then may I just have a follow-up? So
Mhm.
Robin, is it your thought, or maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay, that these meetings would be part of your community diversity I'm sorry, I don't like acronyms, so I'm trying to
That's all right.
spell it out. So is it your guys' or the committee's thought that like we would come to one of your regular meetings, or you guys would come here and we would workshop it,
completely
or we have a
separate.
separate meeting
So that,
altogether?
so that we're not using
Your meeting schedule.
your meeting time, that we do a subcommittee. Often as I put together a general outline of what everything it could be. And then take it to both committees to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't wanna, the idea is not to create more work for any one committee. That we do it as a subcommittee and join forces to do it.
I think that's just helpful as we, move forward to everyone understand that it would be another amendment, so.
Yes, it would be.
Short term, but another amendment.
Right, and I'm thinking. Maybe 2 2-hour meetings perhaps, as all, just to get a general idea of what we would like this to look at. And like put all of the ideas on that list, and then take it back to both committees. Your committee would be the governing committee as to what we help with and what we do. Because it will be your video. And we're here to help orchestrate that for you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for bringing this forward. So our next item on the agenda is to review and revise our appointment process.
So. Before we start, I'm gathering that the big deal was the slate situation, and Dawn, correct me if I'm wrong, because you were there with me. It was never the intention to remove the capacity to do a slate.
Yeah, and it seemed like when we got that revised process from the city manager with that chart, that it completely took away our ability to do that, and we had to just vote one at a time.
Yeah, and I see that, but that was, so this wasn't intended to be like from the time that they sit up there to the time that they get done, because there's lots of things in here, like, it doesn't show about closing nominations or anything like that. But it does say in here, any committee member may nominate any or all candidates. And that's in the orange circle at the very, very top. And so
then the second isn't hired.
yeah. And I don't remember why a second isn't required is there. I know that because we worked with Shannon on stuff like that, but that was again, the intention was never to take away the ability to do a slate.
Okay, so maybe we just need to make that clearer in our instructions or something. Going through this.
And actually, tonight's vote really did highlight why a slate can be an issue, because you didn't vote for both of them. And that's as you're right, and that's absolutely appropriate. So had we put forth just a slate, then you would have had to vote no.
Well, I think because we added the no recommendation, that satisfied me, that I could just vote
Yeah.
for people I wanted, it didn't matter which position.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that when we're voting as a slate, it's like, it's an all or nothing, that vote is an all or nothing. What we did on that first one was slightly different than voting a slate. Because on the ballot, we put up to the number of open positions, which is different than doing a slate.
Well, what do you mean by, well, then I don't know what you mean by slate.
So the slate is, and I'm just gonna use those two names because it's right there with our heads, right? So the slate was Hirsch and Michael, right? So your choice is either both of them or none of them. It's when I presented the slate. Your eye,
Choice.
well, you
Your
can
eye.
look, you can look at it that way, yes. Cause that choice is either I want both of these here. If I don't want both of these here, however that looks, my vote has to be no.
I see, well, right, so
And that, so,
we need different language. My ideal is to just be able to vote for up to the number of positions, whoever we want. So I can vote for my top two choices, or last month, I think it was 3.
yeah, on the parks, it was 3 tonight, so that.
Tonight, right.
Similar thing.
But it was just, it got weird last time because of the position numbers, which don't matter.
Yeah.
And so then,
That's
I don't know.
what happened this night, yeah, tonight.
That's right, so that was the example of it where we could have, but anyway, so I think just being able to vote if they're the same position. There's 3 of them open, they have no difference and they need time frame and what have you. Then I think I would like it if we could vote on our top X number of choices.
Okay.
But, and that felt like what got taken away in these latest rules from
So,
city manager.
Dawn, you have much more familiarity with. Or a different familiarity and more varied. Is there a way to write that up? Is that like a fairly standardized way of doing a ballot where you can do all of that? Or are we kind of stuck with this where we end up with this dumb tie that we kept having?
I don't know, I've never had a committee that does ballot votes. I think that you would be okay by just adding another number saying that you could have slate voting, and then just define what that means. And
Okay.
say that that's,
We
So,
don't call it slate though, because you're slate.
well, and
All
that's
ethnic.
that's my personal understanding what slate means.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that's the accurate understanding what a slate
Right.
means.
And that's why I did.
That's-
that,
that's-
so we can
yes.
have conversation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it's like,
Mhm.
and again, I'm the old timer that was on before along with you, and we took every position and voted position 1, whoever, right? And then we went to position 2 and voted either for whoever was in it or maybe somebody else. And before, we never had a no recommendation, which I love that
That's
option.
fantastic.
So I love that. I just, because last month we had a lot of confusion. And there was also something in the minutes last time, not last time, but the time before. That basically, or there was comments made by either the mayor or some council members that we needed to vote. So we needed to vote by position and vote one person at a time versus the whole slate.
That's number
And so I just. There seems to be a lot of
Yeah,
conversation happening and it was very unclear last time, so that's why we were putting it forth to have a much more,
yes.
I'm gonna call it robust conversation. To figure out exactly how we present it, so we're not all like, oh,
Yeah, I know, 'cause I know, I don't.
I'm sorry, I work
here.
like, can you stop?
So, a couple things. One is, the reason why this keeps coming up right now is because, and Kim can attest to this, back in the day, we have 5 open positions and 2 people. It was a moot point. It didn't matter. We are,
Well, it
that,
does.
but now, well, but now we don't have that problem. We have the opposite problem. And so that's where we're coming up with these things and we're coming up with these things. It is terribly uncomfortable because we're up here and we don't know exactly what it is we're doing, but it is kind of like you were telling Talia, it is kind of exciting and a way to grow because the problems that we have is a problem of abundance. Now, with regards to what you said, Jane, about we have to vote each thing at a time, that was what Shannon said we have to do. So he was the city attorney.
We get a second opinion?
Yeah, he's gone.
Well, I'm just saying, like, maybe.
So I'm just looking, I think the thing that is catching us up, that's we're exactly talking about here is under voting number 5. That's where it says there are multiple positions to fill, each position will be voted separately. So that's what we just need to cross out.
But that's what we were told by the city attorney we had to
So we
have.
can't just cross it out.
Well,
I'm not,
I think we can make this is our committee. And we can make this suggestion and run it by our new city attorney. And see if it's okay, if it's what we like, because we're the ones doing it. I don't know how there could be some legal issue, but if there is, we need to hear what it is.
Well, I think the language, so if you're saying slate and your understanding is this and that, then, you know, we don't use that word.
yeah,
So we use the language that's used in the documentation, or we come up with something.
So the language, I would like to.
Councilor Cola has something
Okay, go ahead.
before we get into it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Cola.
There's a little thing called Robert's Rules. And Robert's Rules is probably where Mr. Johnson came up with the rule that said you have to vote for them second. Now, I'm not a Robert's Rule expert by any means. And what you say, when you say your idea to say, hey, there's 3 people, 3 positions open, there's 5 people for them. Let's vote for your favorite 3 out of them. Makes a lot of sense. It makes sense to me. It says, oh, this is logical. And then when you're done with that, you look at it and one of them got 4 votes and one got 3 votes and one got 5 votes. Then you take your top 3. And that's who you push forward. That makes sense to me. That's logical. But there may be something in Robert's Rules that says we can't do it that way. And now, I'm not a Robert's Rule expert, but that might be why he said that.
Well, then would that have to be taken out of that first one? If this is there, right? That
Yeah.
contradicts it.
Let me, because I know that we talked about doing it that way, and Don, do you remember why we ended up not being able to do that way? Okay, because I don't remember, I do remember us talking about it. Because that was one of the options and that was one that was, that we liked, but it was kibosh.
No, I just. Let's see on this. No, I don't really wanted to see this in a visual for us. And it doesn't make,
There it is.
I know, and it doesn't make sense to me because of exactly what we experienced tonight, and we experienced it last week too, when. So what happened was. Somebody was the incumbent in position 2. And so I voted for the non-incumbent, for position 1, thinking, okay, I just want the incumbent going back into their same position.
Yeah.
Whereas other people thought, I'm gonna vote for my first choice for position 1. And so while we both wanted that person, we voted on them in different positions. Which made no sense because they're the same position. The number doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to go back to the way we did it.
But there are some times that the number does matter because of the.
It's more on the back end.
If somebody has stepped down.
Right, the length of term, but so here's where,
But that's not always the case.
okay, well, this is what I would like to say in number 5. If there are multiple positions to fill, comma. With the same term, not comma, there are multiple positions to fill with the same term length, comma. Committee members may vote on one ballot up to the number of open positions, including the no recommendation. And so that allows us to just put up to 3, 5, whatever the number of positions, the candidates into whichever positions.
Well, I think
Doesn't matter.
actually, I think, Don, rather than crossing out 5 altogether like that,
No, yeah,
I think it's an addendum.
Yes.
Or, you know, that's
okay,
like that.
if there are multiple positions to fill with the same term length. Will just be added
Mhm.
after fill.
Well, no, because we still need to know what happens if they're not the same term length.
Because you could still have.
Then we would still need to
Candidates
use, yeah, we would need to use the steps 2 through 4.
Yes.
Okay, but let's just start at the top, because if you read the vote, right, so one says you close the nominations or presentations, and then any committee member may nominate any or all, okay? And then we have to vote. I think what is weird, if you follow this almost word for word, and then you get down to the bottom. Because if we. Like Daisy made the motion today, now she would have just said, instead of slate, which again, we.
Yeah, no, I'm
Whatever,
sorry.
right? I'm fine. If we said, okay, we're putting 2 names forward. Cause you can nominate any or all, so you could, I mean, in all essence, she could have put just 1 name forward, and then we would vote on the other person for, cause I think the cool thing is we just have to be really clear, are we putting forth everyone in all the positions, are we just putting names forward for position 1, even though positions don't matter? But it's just, that's where we're hanging up, either positions go away altogether.
And you have to state the position number, so it's just.
Or
we even says.
So if I did what I did on this, on the parks,
Yes.
yeah,
Then it's very clear, right, then no one's going to be. That's
so,
where I was struggling, is it this way or this
so
way?
Jane,
But trying to go through here, if we were to follow the steps. I think there still needs to be a correction or modification or an addition to 5. Somewhere
So-
along here.
but what if we do the addition to 1? I don't know why it says the second is not required, because the second would have to be if you're putting 4.
The second motion.
No, on number 1, it says following close of presentations, any committee member may nominate any or all candidates, the second is not
And I think
required.
Robert's Rule of Order required the second.
I would, yeah, I can't imagine why there
Let's
would be,
remove that.
but
There is some, but
yeah,
there are
but-
some things in Roberts you don't have to second, that's the thing,
Yeah.
because I read that and I'm like, I've sat on this committee for 12 years prior to being.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we, like,
Always
always had a second, so
but
when I saw that, I went, is that new?
You know, I
So-
think we should.
if we add there, well, we can add wherever. But if we add in there. And I'm gonna defer to Dawn to make it sound like it's supposed to, she's my AI of make this sound professional. But if multiple. Candidates are being nominated. Then they need to be named, and then the nomination must include their name and position.
A position number, even though it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to us.
Just to make it so that we don't have to do that whole person thing.
So if she would have said, you know, Hirsch for 2, because he was 2,
Yeah.
and Michael for position number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, right, that's that name or
I
but
voted for all the.
But the problem, the problem that we have, if I'm able to do that, and I think we should still be able to do that. Is, so in that first instance where I would say I nominate Michael for position number 1 and Hirsch for position number 2. Again. The. You know, then you have a second, then you have a vote, the vote is either yes or no. And so Jane's vote has to be no.
so that doesn't work for me still, so I think for number 1. I think it should just say. Do we have a motion to close nominations?
So
And then the second, and then we close the nominations, we've heard from the 3 people, the 5 people, the 2 people. So why do we have to have any committee member nominate? Any of that, we just were voting on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that because we would just,
Well,
is that,
you have to close the nominations and you have to move them forward. You can't just close nominations and not move the slate forward.
no, I think what this was saying was, cause nominate versus moving forward, I think that what this is saying is, okay, everybody makes their presentation. And then I say, you know what, I think Jane would actually be really good on this. So I nominate Jane to be on this. Committee as well.
Too.
Well, no.
So
Then
it's totally
she-
different,
Then she can then make her presentation, cause she didn't turn in her stuff on it.
but we're not interviewing anybody who
That's,
doesn't show up or hasn't applied. We're only interviewing people who.
that's what this is saying, is that we can.
Well, and
Yeah, I
it's saying the rule that we can move someone forward if they are not here.
Yeah, and we can, and we have.
Right, but
But this says that, because that's why you close nominations, is because there's a way that. You can, you know,
right,
add
so
that.
I think we just say. Following the close the presentations, and sometimes that is just. Stating, we received a letter from so and so, they weren't able to be here, but they said they couldn't, and so they're still. Up for consideration. You know, so we just say,
Right.
okay, we've concluded the presentations. And we close nominations, and we don't have to put forward anybody, they're already put
No,
forward.
but that's what I'm.
Why
That's,
aren't they put forward? We have to just
So-
state it,
yeah, so what number 1 is saying.
Yeah.
Is, okay, so we had the people who've turned in their applications. And then for whatever reason. It turns out that Jane is interested and she didn't turn in the application, but I still want her to be heard. I'm on the committee. So I can nominate Jane. That's why there doesn't have to be a second. Because then she comes and she makes her
no,
bid.
I thought we said, Dawn, that we can't do that, if they didn't have their application in. On the time, which is 30 days in advance of this meeting or whatever, and nobody can, but you're saying,
And that-
maybe could.
That though. Happened after this was written.
Okay, I'm lost now. Because
So we had,
Because they have to have background
People that
checks.
had like a different application, and are you talking about like where they could possibly be, and we didn't nominate them for one, but we can put them on the other one, or just?
yeah, that can happen as well.
Because I think we've
Where they-
done that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we clarified that application process. After this stuff
Oh,
was
that's
written.
right. That is right.
So
Okay, so we can
So-
change this,
that number 1. Could be, if we're saying that we are not gonna be, that they have to have had an application submitted through.
right, because
Through
now
the
they
same-
also have to be cleared through a background check.
Yes.
So we can't just have random
Okay.
people suddenly
So-
coming in.
So then, yes, we do need to. Yeah,
So I think we just say. Following the close of the presentations,
Dawn's typing up there.
we
oh,
we
we
close
can look
nominations.
straight out too. She's got it right out front. She's got it out
Yeah,
front for us too.
right,
So you don't have to feed your neck.
thank you.
I know.
I know, yeah.
But see, I'm still caught up on that, any member may nominate. Because
But-
I think it should just be, okay, we heard from everybody. They're automatically being considered now. You might, somebody might say, well, I like these 2, but I don't want this one.
Well, good. I mean, you could, like, the 3 people tonight, we could have said, close nominations. You 2 could have closed, and then I said I only put forth, Gwen and Mike. That could have been and it could have died for a lack of second, but technically, we don't have to put all 3 people
Right,
forward.
and is anybody, I mean, is that gonna be something that we ever want to do? Because we can take care of that in our voting.
And you guys are actually talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
Because what what this is allowing to have happen is, so for example, tonight. We had Michael who was on one, both of them, and he removed from one, but let's turn that around, say he only did one. And then in talking, he's like, oh, you know,
Since I didn't make it on this one, maybe I want it.
yes, and so then we've got the application in, we've got the background check in. So we can then at the second one, even though he's not listed here. Then
Right.
we
Yeah.
can nominate him,
Yeah.
so that's what number one allows us to do. That's all that allows us to do. Is to say, okay. Even though you didn't click that box, you've done the other things, so. We will hear from you.
Okay, so if we wanna leave that there. What?
And I'm agnostic on it, we've done it before.
I think there was really good candidates, and I think it was planning and budget before, or we had somebody and we didn't, you know,
That's right.
they were willing, and we thought they would be good based on skill set.
Yeah, I don't
It
remember.
was.
Yeah, because it was
I
when I
think it
was
when
applying
it
for
started.
budget and I remember that, and they said, oh, well, you didn't make it on such and such a committee, would you like to be on
Yeah,
budget?
done
And
it
so,
several times, where we had a good candidate, I mean, they could fill either spot, and then they said, yeah.
okay, yeah, it was a good thing. Be able to do that. Somebody's already here.
Right, but how does that look to everyone that's not here? So if I didn't get my application in. For budget. And I'm gonna use Lisa, because she's sitting here, and I know her. So, and so Lisa didn't really apply for budget, but because she didn't get on parks. We said, Lisa, do you wanna go on budget? And she's like, sure, I'd love to, but what happens with Gwen, who isn't sitting in the room, and she would have liked to have been. On budget, but because she didn't get her application in by the deadline, she's not even considered. I guess that's what I worry about. Is like, we posted it, we have a deadline. And here it is, and I didn't get my stuff in, or 10 other people, and then because and I love great candidates, I'm not trying to, but I'm just thinking from. Equity and everyone, because Lisa happened to be in the right chair tonight, she gets to go on budget.
I think there were some that clicked multiple before the application, and that's,
Well-
those are the ones that we typically were like.
No, if they clicked multiple, then they were on it for multiple.
Yeah,
So-
so somebody that was
so that's-
gone just
yeah.
that night of. But then. it got-
I'm honestly, I'm agnostic, I can see both sides of it, I mean, sometimes luck is luck. And, you know, that's how it is, but I absolutely see what you mean, the only thing on that, and I don't know. I don't know if it is an issue, is that. Lisa did the application past criminal background. You're not turning it in. We don't have a criminal background, so we don't even know. So that, but again, I'm agnostic, I'm not going to fight hard one way or the other on that. I think it looks. And this isn't always a negative thing. Cause I like our small town feel, but I think it looks a lot less professional when we do, oh, well. Let's slot you in over here and you didn't quite do what you were supposed to do. But.
I just saw something in our rules that I didn't know. For tonight, that would have fixed our situation in the event of a tie vote on the second vote. The names of the two candidates should be placed in the Kaiser bucket and drawn.
I
see.
should remember that, that's
I
the
don't
whole
like
Warren
that.
story,
I don't like that.
that's how
either.
Warren became mayor. That's why
See, well-
luck is luck.
And so I don't like that idea either. I like how we ended up putting them all on one ballot there. So that we could all get the choices that we wanted, rather than random thought. So I would vote to remove C.
That C is there because that is what this city's rules are.
Yeah. And it's happened many a times, we've had to put people in bucket.
Okay, so then I would like to then move up number 5. And there could still be ties, and then we'd still keep in the tie situation. But I think with number 5 and adding that language with the same term like. Committee members may vote on one ballot up to the number of open positions. Because the problem is. That I found in the past, if I want 3 people. And we go through several times of voting. A lot of times I only ever get to vote for my first choice. I never get to say, well, I did want this other person, these 2 other people for the 3 open positions. Because I still have to keep voting for my one person. And so I would be happy if we just change that. And
I think where I need clarity, because Davey, you brought it up, when the slate came forward, it's either a yes or no vote. It's not a no recommended vote, so I think.
that's why we're not calling it a slate. Because it's all or nothing. So that's why I didn't say slate, I said, if there are multiple positions to fill the same term length. Committee members may vote on one ballot. First ballot up to the number of open positions. And so then I get to vote for both of my people that I wanted, or all 3 of the people that I wanted. And then we count the votes. And it has to be a majority. For the first person, and so there may come a second vote where we then. The first person got in, and then we vote on this next candidate, because there wasn't a majority on the second. Person or the third. Yeah, so there may still be multiple votes, but they have to get a majority.
I don't know, you can, Dawn.
You're good.
Sorry.
It's okay, I just wanna, I know this is out of order.
No,
I
it's fine.
I was wondering if I could come up and ask a question / offer a suggestion that might help.
That would be
Okay,
fantastic.
that's it. And if you say, wow, that's like the worst thing in the whole world, I won't cry, I won't do anything.
Yeah, but let's, before you, while you're occupied, Councilor Cole.
So
She'll cry.
we're, you should get comfortable with. The way that we ended up doing the first vote that we did, when we said vote up to 2 people. On that first ballot.
Yes, I mean, I
Because I gave you, but it wasn't what you thought. Right?
It, for me, it did the same thing, we got it all out of the way.
Yeah, and I got what I wanted, because I wanted to make a no recommendation on it. So I just,
Yeah.
I could have voted for 2, but I just voted for 1.
I had not considered that occurring, because that had not occurred in my experience, whenever I had ever had a slate vote before, everyone just agreed, yeah, it's all, everybody, because we've got 5 open positions, all 3 of these people are qualified, so we'll bring them all 3 forward.
But it works.
Were you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Is anybody not comfortable with?
No, I think it's, for me, it's the terminology. And the definition, right, cause that's what hung us up last time, and
Yes.
that's the
Well,
part.
and we wouldn't call that a slate.
Yeah, and but I also heard you say that, and that's my other piece of being hung up is. If it's all or nothing. We need to be clear on that, if a no rec, or is it,
It's not enough, all or nothing.
so,
It's, you can vote on up to the number of open positions.
so I think we just need to be really clear and let Lisa have her moment.
Well, and I don't,
And I keep
Yeah.
your
Does
patience.
that make sense to you, Don?
so,
Thank you.
hi, I'm Lisa Sajika, I am a Kaiser resident. Thank you for allowing me to speak out of order. Certain committee meetings that I have watched, when they're doing a vote and there's multiple people, they will say, I would like to move these 2 people forward. And I'd like to vote by acclamation. So then if one person says no, then you go and do what you did today. So like with parks, there were 3 people, there were 3 incumbents, and you said, I'd like to put all 3 of these people forward. Can we vote by acclamation? And everybody says, yes, 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 that's great. And if, Dan, if Councilor Bell said, no, because he's not voting and I'm picking on him, because it's fun. Then you would go and do a secondary way, so you have a chance to do it really quickly. And then if that's not acceptable to every single person, then you go and do either the, each vote for 3 or each vote for 2, or however you would do it.
Okay,
Yes,
So-
I like that.
let me clarify, so that's like when we do, shoot, at the beginning of meetings, where we just approve all of the reports. I don't remember what it is, and if it only takes one person to say no, that it.
Oh, on the consent calendar.
Consent calendar, yeah. So similar to that, then is what I'm understanding, where it's,
No,
The thing I wanna make sure though, cause on the consent calendar, I mean, it's different, right? This is a little different, cause when it's by consent, there is no discussion. Cause you're just approving what's on there, yes, it's great, move on, there's no, so I don't know if
that's
that's,
different,
yeah. But I,
right, yeah, because
It'll
we still
be-
need to.
so we don't have a way to submit people. I'd like to submit these 3 people as consent or on a consent.
Right, and if we all said yes, I'm fine with that, which is what we did with 3 for parks.
Mm-hmm.
But on the
But-
first one,
Yeah, then it would have been no.
they
and then
would have
we
been,
kinda go.
yeah, and then we would have voted and you could vote for up to 2. And it could go
But
right.
my question, and because I'm in Dan's vote with him of like, we are familiar enough with Robert's rules to be super dangerous. So is that something that is in there that like you can do that? Because usually votes are a majority.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about the rules, I have to read it.
See, I'm only good at Bob's rules, I'm not good at Robert's rules, Robert's a little more Bob.
We're a little more casual.
Yeah, so Bob and I, we get along all right.
Yeah,
But there's an element of grace to Bob's rules.
I need Joe Egley here. He's my Robert's rules student.
Okay, well, I feel like we're sort of all on the same page, we felt comfortable with that, how that worked. In the end, because we saw it failing by getting the same votes every. And so we solved the problem and that worked.
We really should have done the bucket then. I totally forgot about the bucket.
I did too.
So did I.
I blame Kim.
But I think it's good to keep having these conversations because wording does matter.
Yes,
Right, and just making sure that we are comfortable, and I guess. I just wanna make sure that we can do the no recommendation if that's truly how someone wants to vote. So
But
I guess if we keep giving some thoughts. And then.
I don't know that we did see anymore.
And then Dawn does her AI tools that she's gonna do.
No, she's AI.
so,
And then. So next steps with that, then does it come back to the full group like next month, so we all can look at it?
I think
and have
everybody
some time to
Yeah,
digest
I think
it.
we have
And
to.
then we take it back and have the city attorney look at it to make sure that we're not like creating something that's.
Well, because we have Lenora, who hasn't been here, yeah, I think it's an important discussion that we have.
Yeah.
Try to get everybody
Yeah.
to stress the importance of that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't run it past him quickly before we bring it back, because I don't wanna spend a bunch of their time if it's like Noah at the very beginning.
Well, I mean, Larry had some. Concerns last month voting. So, and he's been on the committee for a really long time. I know Lenora, sorry, is new, and so is Tina. And I'm not discrediting that thought, but it might be nice to have new people's thoughts as well.
Yes, my understanding is that Larry's concerns, and Dan is probably more familiar with his concerns than I am, but Larry's concerns are very similar to Jane's concerns. So what I'm suggesting is that if we can, I forgot his name. What's our attorney's name? Joe. If we can ask Joe to just take a quick look, I'm not asking him to, spend hours to try and redo it or anything like that, but. Because if there's a reason why Shannon was so insistent on it being that way. My experience with Shannon is usually that it had been that there was an actual reason, it's not just. So I don't.
I'm not faulting that.
Yeah, I would rather that than the opposite,
Yeah,
but I would rather. Yeah, I would rather us be, you know, say, yeah, Larry,
First.
we're not gonna go through this because. We've been told that we can't because of these reasons.
Right, and with this page 62. I think needs rework too. After we have it.
Yeah, once, but
After it's reviewed by the attorney and maybe Adam needs to look. So I don't know, I mean, I feel like we need to make the best decisions for our committee and not be. I mean, other people dictate it to us unless there is a legal. issue.
So may I make a suggestion? If from listening to all this, this is what I think that you would like to have happen. Let Miss AI over there. Put together our thoughts from what she's listened. Run that by Joe just to make sure no red flags pop up and say, oh, no.
Yeah,
right.
We can't be doing that. Then bring that back to us. And let's-
Yes,
And
yes.
Is that a good
Yes,
summation?
very good.
yes, it is.
Yes.
I have a question or a comment or something.
So do you want me to go ahead and relocate C, the tie voting, and put it after number 5?
No, I think it can stay. Where it is, but if. For me, it's just adding that.
She just doesn't like.
In number 5, I just wanted to say with the same term length, committee members may vote on one ballot up to the number of open positions.
And she's got it there.
Okay,
It's A.
okay. Then I,
Let's write that down.
but I
It
think,
is happy.
yeah, we want to not be way, Jane, like. But I think it's still 2 through 4. For that as well. You know, it's still use steps 2 through 4. Okay, but yeah, no, if there are multiple positions to fill, each position will be voted separately, that's gone, that needs to go away.
So it's.
Because it's not, there don't have to be, that's what we're saying. We're saying we could vote all 3 positions on one ballot, which
Yeah.
is what you say.
Yeah, she's got it 5B, so it just. She's gotta figure out what that sentence is gonna.
Oh, right.
How that
There are
sentence is gonna read.
positions to fill. Yeah, that needs to. That sentence is now wrong.
Do you feel comfortable with the things that we've talked about, that you can articulate that, or we still need to talk about?
No, I was comfortable until we started
Okay,
working
so
on.
get rid of that sentence, so you can just start with 5.
So,
If there are multiple positions to fill the same term length, committee members may vote on one ballot for up to the number of open positions using steps 2 through 4. If the term lengths are not the same, then that position, you know, those positions are voted separately. Using steps 2 through 4.
and I don't.
And then
think
C is
either
just
in
gone.
all- no, I think. Done for 5, it's just gonna be something like, if there are multiple positions to fill, colon. And then you have your A. B and stuff, your
Right,
A
that
and
would
B.
work. Follow the following steps or whatever.
Yeah,
Follow the following step.
and then I don't know that CNA necessarily needs to be there.
No,
Isn't AI
So what that,
she's not AI, she's a real human being.
so what that does is we won't be doing the. What I did even on the parks. We would just do a normal vote. And we were like, okay, we've got 3,
That's right, so for up to 3.
yeah, we've got 3 positions open and we've got 3 candidates. You can vote up to 3.
Yes.
Because what
Wait,
that
wait.
does is that gives you the.
So that doesn't take away from your no recommendation.
Yeah.
You're voting up to 3, however, it's a yes
So
or no recommendation.
here's my. Okay, so if we have. 3 open positions, we have 5 people, we're still doing just vote up to 3. Okay.
And it's,
But if you do
and then you
two
go
and then no
position,
recommendation.
so do we take then, so if it's alphabetical. Is, you know, like. Okay, so if it's, I'm gonna use parks, then. Since there was, if Michael would have stayed on there, we would have had 4 people for 3 positions, so then. You're gonna go Tanya and go. 1, 2, 3, go however many, and then Gwen. And because it has to be majority, right, so then. It's by people and then it goes to position later.
Yeah, it's not gonna be we don't have the position then on the ballot.
Right.
It's just,
Right, so then whoever gets, you know, if Tanya gets 4, she's okay.
that's why I
She's
have
in
it,
position 1,
that's why I have
and
a
then
tally sheet.
and then how Glenn, since this is how, I guess, how they're listed. Which doesn't really matter how they're listed, it's just by votes then, and then the next person with the majority. Goes in the next position number, and then the 3rd person with. Okay. Got it.
Okay. And if somebody doesn't get a majority, then
You feel comfortable with
it
that?
has to be voted again. So if there's only 2 votes for something here. Or the majority, if they don't get a majority. Then they're out.
Well, what happens if everyone votes for. Tanya and Glenn, and then. It's,
It's a no vote, but it's no recommendation on all the others.
or they only, or
Then
they
that
get
person
2, or
doesn't-
they get 2 votes and the rest are
Then they don't get.
Then nobody's not, it's not majority.
That's right,
Okay.
that's right, so they don't.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we're all clear, because they need to be clear, right? If we have to explain it, or someone's like, I don't get why.
Yeah, well, that's-
the only thing I'm trying to make sure that we're
I
really
got 2
clear.
votes, I should put.
Yeah, and that is
No, it has to be
is
the
clear that it's
Okay.
it's a majority.
Does it say that up there?
It does.
Okay.
I think it says
Number
somewhere on one
On
part, I
the
remember.
4 results, I guess, A,
Oh, yeah,
if they don't receive a majority. Okay, but this is not talking about when there's multiple people, that's only like
That's
one
just-
person again.
So I think maybe 5 needs to be 4,
Right, move it up.
because the result should be the end.
Yeah, right.
Sorry,
Move
you keep moving stuff around on your own.
To be
no, I think we
4.
had really good, I think this was helpful, thank you.
Yeah, thank-
This is another reason why I said committees are good, because if you have fewer people. You have, well, it's a little bit easier to have conversations.
Right, and the bucket could still work, because if. There's a tie and it's a majority. So then,
Yeah.
be in the bucket.
I think you have to leave the bucket in.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think we do, just because that's a city thing and we are a city committee.
Dawn, are you good?
Thank you so much for sticking through that. That's just, yeah. And it needed to be done because it's too confusing.
Well, and. Remember, no promises that this isn't gonna pop up again, because we've got.
You know, and this committee changes, and so, you know, we're all learning over. Okay, well, I am going to, oh, wait, next meeting. Oh, okay. Thank you. C. Our May 14th meeting has been co-opted. So that would be our regular meeting time. Do we want to either cancel it or do it May 6th, May 20th, or May 28th?
And do we know if we're gonna, I mean, do we have to pick a date?
Or it just makes it easier for us because we can get everything set up in advance.
Do we?
I move that what you do is you set a date, but if we don't, we
It's
have to meet that time, but we just cancel it.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so do we want to maybe just?
Well, the problem, I'll just say for Wednesday, because Tina and I are both at the Kaiser Elks Lodge on Wednesday nights. It would be, and we both do this one committee together. Wednesdays would be out for us.
Okay,
just do the Thursdays.
Okay, so Thursday, May 28th, unless we need to change it closer to the date. Thank you. All right, and then our next meeting is November 13th.
And I'm out. Just FYI.
We are right, we have candidates.
I feel like no, because with the new website and stuff, I am redoing my recruitment links and all of that. So I don't think I'm gonna have enough time for the recruitment to be open, but I'm still trying to get it.
So it's
So I was there now, like, you know, and then historically speaking, December is tended to be held as well. If people are doing holiday stuff, just
right.
letting you guys know.
Yeah, it would be tough for me to be here next month, because I'm on. Ground duty battle, so.
What a hardship.
No.
Okay, well, we will take it as it comes and I'm adjourning us at 8:20. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for patiently putting us on.
Oh, you're welcome.